Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant from Akulmach Technologies, and welcome on this Wednesday morning. Uh, and we are having this program called Naval Gunt Live. And as the name suggests, this is a program which is primarily presented by Mr. Naval Gunt, who's joining us from UK. So let me welcome Mr. Naval.
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. Yes, it's Wednesday, and the subject for today is going to be quite interesting because we've all been cooped up for quite some time. So we need to do a bit of spring cleaning, don't you think, CK? Get rid of that dust that's settled around us, get back into the real world, and start preparing for the next event, whatever that next event is.
Absolutely, Naval. In fact, in India and the Indians world across, they have celebrated Diwali, and as part of the ritual of celebrations, 10 day prior, we have to clean everything, throw old things out, buy new things. So I think we've just crossed literally that hurdle. But I think more importantly, we need to clean our mind, as you said. I think that's a real message that we have to declutter our mind. And I think the reality of the pandemic, which has created in the world today, is that going forward, most of the workforce would be on the contract. As per the estimate, it is 30 to 40% workforce would be on contract or contract on as a consultant. Um, and that is what is required. And before we get into that kind of a mode, the people have to first realize what they are getting into and what they have to prepare, what activities they have to do to prepare themselves to really position themselves as contract labor. So I think that is a discussion we want to have with you, Neville. What is your thoughts on this aspect?
Well, it's a really important topic because, as you say, Diwali is about all that spring cleaning that you've done before, and it's the new era. It's the new year that comes in, and we do it physically. So we've done it. We've cleaned our property, cleaned our houses, put the lights on outside, had a lot of fun, welcomed the new era. Um, but the main place we should be decluttering is 5 inches between these things here. And the interesting thing is, we've all got these. There's two of them. You can hold on to one if you like. Some are bigger than others. Some have got big lobes, smaller, it doesn't matter. They're called ears. And in between our ears is where it all goes on. So if we're going to value what we're going to be doing in this new era, where people are doing gigs, as they call them in the Western world. It's the gig economy. In other words, where you're just taking on a short contract or a long contract, which could be a week, 3 weeks, a month, a year. But these are short contracts. And now it's a question of getting yourself ready to take those on, because that's the economy that we're coming to. And it's not just a local economy, but it's the global economy that's moving that way. So we need to do things for ourselves to get us in the right mindset so that we can take that next stage. So I'm going to suggest we do this over 2 bites, 2 bites of a cherry, 2 bites of an apple. And the first bite this week is focusing on yourself, your own self-worth. When you look in the mirror, do you like what you see? Are you happy with who you are? Do you enjoy life? No, these are really early stepping stones that we've probably got to reintroduce ourselves to ourselves. So this week, I think what we could do is we could focus on 3 things where you can go and practice for the next week, and then we can focus on more things that are going to get you right into this new contract type world. So the first thing is and there's a picture in the background that might help you. It's self-belief, having the right attitude, having that can-do attitude. Even if you don't know how to do it, you know that you've got that get up and go, that you're going to develop the right process, the right way forward. You're going to find out how to do it. And all of this is a lot of self talk that goes on. And it's as simple as saying to yourself, I'm stupid, because you don't quite get it all the time, as opposed to the right attitude is saying, didn't quite get that. I'm going to have another look. I made a mistake, maybe. I need to go and do a little bit more research. And notice how different those are. One is, I'm stupid. If you have that self talk about being stupid, I'm useless, I'm a bad person, no one likes me, you can really get into that really quickly, can't you? And I'm sure you see people that say this, people that you had a lot of belief in before, but over the last 8 or 9 months, they've slipped into this arena of saying, well, I'm not really good enough, and I'm not sure if that's going to work. And you even see it in the tone and hear it in the tone of their language and their demeanor. They sit down in front of a PC and you see it on Zoom. They don't sit up. They don't look as though they're engaged. They don't look as though they're having fun. They've talked themselves into that situation. And by the way, they've not been alone, because the news, the TV, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, they've all done it. They've all literally, it's been blasted at you from so many places about how the world is a bad place and I must be a bad person because I'm living in that world. The world's not a bad place, is it, CK?
Well, I think the attitude makes a lot of difference, and I think that is the first step to improve the attitude, as you rightly said. And many people, as you rightly said, don't have the right attitude to even take the first step. So if they are not able to identify what is their self worth, I mean, they don't have the right attitude, then how going forward they will be able to price their services which they will offer to their enterprises. So I think you're
Yeah. Absolutely right. So it needs to start, and we're starting simply here. Although, having said that, it's going to be quite difficult because you've got yourself into this situation. And bear in mind, you need to listen to that again. And I know you can repeat this by going onto YouTube and going back again, but you've got yourself into this situation. You've allowed it to happen. You might want to blame everybody else, but actually, that's the wrong attitude. So immediately, your self-worth starts with your self-belief. Who am I? Do I like myself? Have I got the right language that's going on up in here? Because as you and I both know, there's a conversation that goes on up here without your mouth opening. My wife constantly says to me, I could be watching the TV and completely abstract to what's going on the TV, and my head's going, because I'm having a conversation. I haven't got two people up here. I've got half a dozen, and they're all chipping in to the conversation. No, when you get really good at this, you could have 100 people in your brain, because there's probably that many things that are going on. And the key thing is to control the ones that are negative and let the ones that are positive have their say. So you can shut people down. Again, you're not opening your mouth. It's just going on in your head. So the key thing is to shut the ones that are having all those negative vibes going on up there and open up the positive ones. So this self-belief is really important. It's where we need to start. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I think you have raised a very profound observation, and you're absolutely right, because this happens with everyone. It has happened to me. It probably happens to you, and it happens to everyone, whether you're young or old or a middle-aged person. Many times people don't even know that their attitude has an issue. So, what is your advice? I mean, we are talking about building your self worth. So, over the period of next two episodes of this program, we want to basically focus on that. But the first step is, how do I get into attitude of identifying what is my worth? Do you have an opinion, or do you have any suggestions to the viewers how to improve their attitude and get some value for themselves out?
Well, the interesting thing is really easy to do. You've got to go and do something. So they say the you need confidence to move forward. Well, how do you get confidence? How do you get confident over something? You go and do something. You go and do something that actually reinforces your confidence. So it might be going for a walk and, listening to the birds singing, looking at the flowers, looking at the leaves, looking at the trees. This is an interesting time of year to go for a walk in the UK because the trees are turning colour. In some respects, they're dying. They're losing their protection. Apart from the evergreen ones, which are just maybe slightly changing colour. But the thing is, things are happening. There's an evolution of things that are happening out there. And if that's what you go and enjoy, go and do it. Do it more. Because that will actually bring you back into the real world. This is what makes you want to get up every day. So, building that self belief, building that confidence, you need to go and do something. And obviously, go and do something you love. So, if you like reading books, go and do it. Have a clear focus about why you're doing it and go and do it. So if you like creating things, could be anything. Maybe a new web page, maybe a new landing page. If that gives you a thrill, a buzz, then go and do it. If you like looking at something that perhaps your competitors might be doing, or something that's going to improve what you will be doing in the future, then go and do it. Get the best out of it. And as you see, this is a doing issue. You've got to physically go and do something. And it might be sitting in front of a PC, or it may be going for a walk, or it may be doing something else. But you've got to go and do it. And my suggestion is do something you love. Because if you love it, all of a sudden you fall back in love with it. Because at the moment, you're not there. You've lost your way. Your self esteem's low, perhaps. Your self belief as a result is low. Your self talk is all negative. I never get anything right. I give up too easily. This isn't going to work. Just listen to the language that you're talking and change it. And the point about I'm trying to make here, CK, is you've done it before. You've got loads of experience where you've done it before and it worked. So go and do more of that and have fun, okay? Because you become more confident by getting good at something. You might even decide to go and do something you haven't done before. And that might be learn to play an instrument. If you've got thick walls and you haven't got thin walls in your apartment and you want to go and learn to play the trumpet, then when you're learning to play the trumpet, believe you me, you hit a few bum notes at the beginning. So you've either got very friendly neighbours who like you, or or give them earplugs, or give them, a new CD, or buy them a Netflix subscription and say, I'm going to be practicing my trumpet at this time. Why don't you listen to some other music? And that leads us into the next one, okay? Surround yourself with people that make you feel good.
So I think the point that you have made is very important, and that is why some of our colleagues, industry colleagues, say that hey, they are going to a, secluded resort for a week. They want to unwind and they want to think about what they want to do next. So I think this is a time where people who wants to build career, or it's about reskilling ourselves. So the first thing is to do, and you mentioned that it's about doing, is to think what they want to do and then really do it. So make a timetable, come out with a timetable and start doing those things which you have written down. So I think that is very important. But Naval, I think it's a reality, it's a real world. So for some of the people, it's even very difficult to find directions also, because usually people jump from one thing to other very often, and it's very difficult for them to get focused and do things. So, what is your advice for such kind of people?
Well, you raise a very interesting subject, CK, and as I say, this what we're talking about today goes deep and deeper and deeper and deeper, and then depending on who you are, depending on how deep you need to go. And there's a lot of people in this gig economy, in this gig world, that have been very successful in the past, and now aren't very successful at all. And maybe they've slipped down the curve the fastest because things have just disappeared. So, what they were doing previously may have not had structure, may have not had purpose, may have not have focused, but they got by and they were very happy in what they did. And it just worked because there was so much work out there that really they didn't have to work at finding work. It just came to them. And I'm sure you know lots of people that fit into that category. For those people, it's probably harder because you've got to start again because you didn't know what actually made you successful. You didn't have a process. It it was luck in many respects. You didn't have a timetable. You didn't have a diary. You didn't, call 5 people a day as some books recommend you to do, because at the end of the month, you've actually touched base with 150 people. Wow, just by calling 5 people a day, well, 5 times 30, which is the average month, is 150 people. If you multiply that by 12, all of a sudden you're into the thousands. And that's how you can build your network, and that's how you can build confidence in other people knowing what you do. So I feel really sorry for those that have just stumbled along and it have been really successful for the last 5 or 10 years, and now it's not, because now you've really got to take a step back, and maybe your confidence has been hit hard, maybe your self-esteem has been hit, and therefore your self-worth, which we'll talk about next week. How do you price yourself for that new gig, for that new opportunity? Um, we'll mention the subject this week. It's getting out of the Me Too. You and I have talked about Me Too for ever since we've known each other. You need to be different. You need to show people that you are worth employing. No, you've got to literally become a graduate all over again, and sell yourself. And a lot of people don't know how to do that because they've never really had to do it. Their last job has given a referral for this one, or the job they did 3 years ago has given a referral for the next one. But things have changed. So now what you need to do is dig in deep. And it may be the first thing you do is, as I said at the beginning of this, go and surround yourself with people you feel good, not people that completely downtread what you're doing or what they're doing. This is self-talk at the end of the day. So one of the first things you can do is go and talk to people that may well be in the same situation that you are, but they've got this can-do attitude. They're always bright and sprightly. They're always happy to take your call. They're always happy to have a discussion with you. And those are the first steps that actually you can do to take which actually will improve their state of mind as well. Because until you start to have that conversation, you don't really know where people are coming from. So this isn't about reinventing yourself. This is about finding yourself, seeing how good you really are, and working out why people employed you in the past, why you were different, and then doing more of that, really.
You know, Neville, when you speak like this, I am thinking about the politicians, because you know politicians may have a very long career, you know, going up to 50 years or sometimes 60 years or sometimes even more. But if you look back in their life, every 4 years they have new agendas. You know, they have a new narrative to talk about. They basically fight for different items, and they create a public perception every 4 to 5 years. So I think it's very important for everyone, even professionals like us, to at least get some inspiration. I mean, politicians are not the best people to get inspired from, but at least we should look at this quality where they're always driven every 5 years. Even they are very old people at age of 80, some of these politicians are quite driven because they have an agenda in their mind. So I think you very rightly and aptly put out that the first thing to realize your worth, so that you can be successful and ask for the same price as an individual contract consultant, is to first realize that what is your core competency. And if you don't have a core competency, what is your attitude to find a new skill or nurture the competency that you have further, so that you can ask for it. So do you have any other advice before we close this video, Neville?
Well, really, it's a wrap up, and the purpose of today is to give you a structure so that in the next 7 days you can go and do something. You can go do something about it, because it's all right listening to these videos and you say, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I get that. Oh, I'm not sure about that. Oh, he's dead on with that one. That's not the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is so that you can now go and do something with it. So here's the action plan for this week. The first thing is sit down, and you might want to sit down with a pencil and paper or your PC in front of you, and just start thinking backwards. You know, what is my attitude? Do I like me? What have I done before? You know, what have I done before to make me feel good? Did I really enjoy what I was doing? You know, start with all of those questions that you, the only person, can get the answers to. So that's your first step. In other words, it's developing that self-esteem. I am worthy. I will be more valuable in the future. I just need to work out where I'm really and where's my expertise. What have I done? Where have I done it? And this is all about improving your can-do attitude, because you've done this before. It may be some time before, okay? It may not have been just before COVID hit. You know, you may have been having a bad patch then, but at some point in your life, you've done this before. So this is a bit of soul searching. The second thing is go and do something you love. Now, this could be on a work basis. It could be on a practical basis. It could be anything you like doing. Some people at this point will go and pick up a paintbrush and decorate a room. You know, if that's what you love, go and do it. Make you feel good because there's a tangible outcome. The room's been decorated. Other people pick up a paintbrush and paint a picture of the garden or of a science fiction figure. It doesn't matter. Go and do something you love, building up your confidence levels. Could be anything, as I say. The third thing is go and ask your friends, your business relationships, who you call friends, or maybe enemies in the past, because they're probably suffering in the same way. Go and ask what's happening to them. Go and ask them to give you feedback, because you're going to now be in a better position to take that feedback, and ask them to be honest. What was it that, why did you employ me last time? Why do you think that project was so successful? And build up that level of self esteem. You've done it before, you can do it again. Now, all you need to do is develop a process that you can continually go back to and make things work. So, three things: have a little audit of what you've been, go and do something you love, have a chat with other people that you've worked with so you can get some feedback. Preferably people that are going to give you honest feedback. Once you get those three in place this week, then you can move on to the next level. But you've got to do the work.
So, Neville, I think the advice for the viewers is very clear. They have to do certain things, and that is why they will be prepared for our next episode, which is about identifying your self worth. So, viewers, please follow Neville's advice for this week, which is about improving your attitude and identifying what is best for you, and practice that for next 1 week, and we will come back in next Wednesday on this at the same time, and we'll discuss about the top three things which are essentials for every professional to identify his self-worth. So thank you very much, Neville, for coming on the show this week. We will catch up next week.
My pleasure. Have fun, everyone.
Bye.